When was the last time you saw something online that truly surprised you, not just amused you, but changed the way that you thought? We live surrounded by infinite content, yet it often feels like we're all watching the same thing with a slightly different filter. As a psychologist and an artist, I've been thinking a lot about what that means for creativity, for individuality, for the quiet space where the new ideas are formed. Every time we scroll, the digital world learns a little more about us. Our curiosities, our comforts, our fears. But I do wonder, when a system learns so well what we like, does it also decide what we don't get to see? Maybe creativity isn't disappearing, it's just being outcompeted by familiarity. What does it do to a creative mind when novelty becomes something we have to seek rather than something that finds us? How do we retain the capacity for curiosity? We're told that we have endless choices, sounds, aesthetics, formats, ways to express ourselves. But are we truly choosing, or are we selecting a pre-curated thing? When I see hundreds of creators making near identical videos to the same trending sound, I don't think it's laziness. I think it's just sort of the way it is and what gets reinforced. There's comfort in patterns that work, but I do wonder, if everyone's following what works, who's discovering what's next? We're social creatures, we're wired to belong, but belonging has a quiet shadow, and that shadow is conformity. In psychology, there's a term called normative social influence, and this is the pressure to align with a group to be accepted. Online, that group is enormous, and it can be invisible. So how do we know when our creative voice is genuinely ours, or when it's just a reflection of what we learn gets attention? Think to yourself, have you ever seen an opinion online that feels so good to read, and that opinion matches yours? It's comforting, it's affirming even. But when we read everything that agrees with us, do we retain that ability to question, to wrestle, and to doubt? Maybe that's where creative thinking really begins, in the space where we're a little unsure. Could our discomfort actually be the birthplace of originality? We're currently living through a time where success feels really attainable on social media. Numbers, views, likes, and comments, these are the metrics that people look at. But with creativity, is that what success looks like? What happens to our inner compass when we start chasing what a platform views and pushes rather than what resonates with ourselves? For creativity, I think it's less about what we make and why we make it. So how might we step outside this feedback loop or this echo chamber? Maybe it begins with small acts of curiosity, listening to unfamiliar music, reading something we disagree with, walking without music or a podcast playing. Letting that silence be uncomfortable again. Because it's in those moments that we reconnect with something deeper, the unpredictable rhythm of our own thoughts. Creativity thrives not when we know what to say, but when we're not sure yet and we can explore it. The mind is a beautiful tool for exploration, and so much good comes out of generating something new and novel. It's exciting. So make space for the boredom, for the nuance and the contradiction, because that is the spice of life. In a world that rewards sameness, curiosity itself can be a bit of an act of rebellion, but you never know when you might stumble across something that resonates not only with you, but with a lot of other people, that's fresh. So I encourage you to just reflect and notice what it is that you're doing when you're showing up online, both in consuming and creating. And make sure you're making time to actually create what you want to create too, not just the content in service of whatever that is. Let me know what you think.